text at 561-319-5533 or Tom at TrentoVision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Okay, hey Kenny, what's up, man? How you doing? Changing of the guards once again. If you have not seen the changing of the guards, let's check our crew. You ever see the changing of the guards?
I actually have.
No, you haven't.
I have.
When?
When I was 12 years old and I went to Scotland, landed in England.
No, different changing. That's ancient changing of the guards. I'm talking about the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
No.
Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not.
That is a bucket list thing to do, folks. You must see the changing of the guards at Arlington Cemetery, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And before you go, Google changing of the guards. Read a little bit about the 21 steps and the any kind of weather and who these people are and what they go through and all of that. It is. In fact, do that. Not right now when you're driving or listening, but do a little reading on the changing of the guard. We just had our changing of the guards. It's not as dramatic.
Not as dramatic, no.
And their uniforms aren't quite spiffy like those guys are. But it was really a very moving and humbling experience to, I've seen it many times. And I haven't seen it in a few years, though. I'm next time in D.C., I'll go check it out.
Let's take a road trip.
Yeah, it's we did that. We were there in September. We did 5 shows, our 2 to 3 show.
Right.
Which is a little easier than 3 hours on the road, but we can do it. We can do anything here at TrentoVision.tv. That is the simulcast video portion of this media extravaganza that we bring you weekdays 3 to 6 o'clock, okay? You can mundanely listen on your radio, which is great, actually, because radio is really the foundation for activism communication in the world. If you look historically at Radio Free Europe, Radio Free Cuba, if a lot of the materials about the agency and their work in Cuba to overthrow Castro was based out of Florida with these kind of guerrilla radio stations. So radio historically has played a pivotal role in impacting public thinking, which leads to changing public policy. And that's what we're all about here, Activism Radio. Myself, Tom Trento, J. Mark Campbell is on A Family Matter up north. As we've told you, if you're prone to prayer, even if you're not there in a funeral today, he and his wife, he'll be back toward the end of the week. And Invisible Mike is here. Say hello, Invisible Mike.
Hello.
Okay, there he is. The disembodied voice of Mark is not here, and his disembodied body is not here. But we're here every day, 3 to 6, and we're providing advertising opportunities, as the little bumper said, coming into this hour. If you're interested in advertising with us, we would appreciate speaking with you. You can contact me at Tom at TrentoVision.tv. We'll help you push your stuff out so you can make zillions and zillions of dollars, and we can change the world. And it's a beautiful thing when all of that comes together in a unique way. So tell your friends about our program, 3 to 6 every day, East Coast time. Our buddies out on the West Coast, you guys, we're your afternoon drive, 12 to 3. That works pretty cool that way. So, and our good friends over the pond, we're your evening listening pleasure. So we cover about 15 time zones where we know we have people watching and listening because we deal with hardcore issues, national security, and other issues related to President Barack Obama, who, in our opinion, should not be the President of the United States of America. He is. That's the way the world works. But we ain't going to make his ride easy, that's for sure. We're going to shine a light on his thinking, on his staff, on his Caesars. He's got a bunch of Caesars, like about 800 of them, I think, now.
Yeah.
Whenever he needs to bypass some sort of regulatory power of checks and balances that our government has, he appoints another Caesar.
Another
So,
Caesar.
like
another
Caesar,
czar, yeah.
yep, just like Caesar, or the czars of your area of study, the
Yeah.
Russians, the Ruskies.
The Ruskies.
But we want you also to stay locked into 1470 from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the mornings. We'll touch your brain 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the afternoons, but on 1470 a.m. here in South Florida. We want you to turn into our good friends Steve Kane and Brian Craig, where they start the day off giving Obama a rough time and all his minions. Steve is an amazing guy, Steve Kane, because he was a liberal of liberals, a leftist for many years,
Yeah.
and articulated as a phenomenally successful talk show host that point of view. Had a come to Jesus meeting, literally became a born again Christian, and that has a way of reorienting your thinking, where you now put God in your life. When you do that, you start to see through God's point of view, and the world comes in focus. And Steve now is a conservative, and it's great listening to. I listen to them every morning for about an hour. And I wish I could more, but I got stuff going, got to get ready for all of this. I have them on in the background, but I listen clearly for an hour, and it's great to hear the liberals calling Steve up. And you can see he knows what they're going to say before they even say it, and he's so gentle with a bunch of them, but then often, get off of my line, get out of here, you idiot, boom, and he hangs up on him, right?
Yeah, it's
But we
really
don't,
cute.
We don't
Yeah.
do that here. Unless you drive us crazy, then we'll do that here too.
Yeah. But we are willing to try.
Yes.
So if you want to call 1-888-565-1470 and give us a hard time and make us hang up on you, we're willing to give that a go if it's going to make your day.
If it'll make your day, Steve will rip your heart out, while you're standing there, and we will use a scalpel. Okay, our approach is a little more scalpelish as opposed to sledgehammers, but so is Steve too. And Brian is just great. Brian
And
cracks me
you
up.
know what else is really interesting, what you just said about Steve, is something that I've noticed over the last few years as I've become an activist
Yes.
through you, is that a lot of these people, when they might start out being liberals, they might get away from the roots of where their family started, but it seems to me that, when they get back to the Bible, they all end up going to the Constitution from the Bible. Have you noticed that?
It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
It's a hop, skip, and a jump when you start dedicating your life in a different way through the Bible, that you are just naturally drawn towards the Constitution itself.
Yeah, that's a
I've
very
noticed that
interesting
for a
point.
lot of different
That's a
people
very interesting point.
who are activists who we work with, and not just the Christians.
No, that's a very interesting point, and Brian too is a Christian, and Brian is great. He's the producer, but sometimes he does the first hour. He does 6 to 7,
Right.
and then Steve comes in at 7, and then they're there together. And Brian is virtually unfiltered. Whatever comes in his mind comes out his mouth, and he's very entertaining in his logic. He's a very smart kid, and handles it well. They make a great team.
Yeah,
So we
I
want
think
you to
so.
listen 6 to 9 to those guys, then 3 to 6 to us. Of course, keep the station on and listen to everybody here, but make sure the bookends that help you understand what the heck is going on in this world with this president, this administration. And the world is in flames right now, if you haven't noticed it. I think about 30 or 40 countries are literally at war, and many of them are Muslim countries. They're just constantly at war. Where are all the leftists and the human rights people and all of that regarding Syria, where Muslim on Muslims are just slaughtering each other? How come we don't hear the ACLU now, all these different organizations saying, "Oh, stop the slaughtering"? Where are all the pickets and the protests to stop the Syrian slaughtering? What's
How
going
come
on?
we don't hear about now talking about women's rights in the Muslim world? How come we never heard about now when the Taliban burned women for just trying to learn how to read, and they're mum, absolutely mum.
Cut off the noses.
Cut off their noses,
Now
I
this-
don't want to talk about the gynecological procedures that are done on women in Muslim lands, but now is completely silent on that as well, and especially they're silent on it when these people bring those cultural values to the United States, and they don't assimilate,
Right,
and
exactly.
they don't acculturate, and the women's movement in this country is completely silent on the abuse of women from other countries who move here.
And now, when we say now, we're referring to an acronym, NOW, National Organization of
Women!
Women.
It's
But not
supposed
all
to be for
women.
women's rights,
Yeah.
no. But only if you're a leftist woman
Yep.
who wants to have an abortion, then we're for you.
we're for your
If
rights.
you're a conservative,
Or a Muslim.
or if you're a Muslim, or if you're an oppressed woman from another country, or even oppressed in this country by somebody who isn't a
Now
leftist.
they're phony. Look, all those people are phonies. They're running a big business. They're prying on black people. All the abortion clinics, the majority of them are in black neighborhoods. Oh, that's that's where the need is. No, that's where you propagate
where
your
yeah.
business, and we know the scam.
Yeah.
If you're for women, let's try to get some Now people on as a guest, and let's start trying to get all these leftists on as guests. We'll bring them on. We'll treat them very respectfully before we take their heart out and show it to them. But they usually won't. They're not going to come on the show. I mean,
No, they
there's
don't want to have a discussion, and they don't really want to defend their values.
And I'll
their
go on.
values are indefensible anyway.
I have a standing invitation or offer to debate anybody, anywhere, and anything in my area, national security, all of that. I'm not going to debate on, green energy, though
I'll do that.
that would take me 5 minutes to gear up on that.
Yeah, show me one that worked.
Well, the $6 billion that the president just promised to Indonesia and Malaysia for green energy, say goodbye to $6 billion of taxpayer money. Here's what the president just did. You probably don't know this, folks, but when he was in Asia last week, he cut a deal with two countries and is going to provide incentives of $6 billion for green energy.
Right.
And guess where the parts and all those stuff that the Muslim countries, this is going to Muslim countries
Right.
to stimulate their green energy programs.
Right.
But they're going to buy it from his friends who he subsidized.
Who he
putting-
subsidized with the TARP program, who went bankrupt and cost
Yeah.
the United States taxpayers billions and billions
Hey, you
of
guys
dollars.
voted for this guy. Have fun. This is
Yeah,
just the beginning.
Yeah.
Just the beginning. We have about 1,400 days of this fun together there, CJ, with this
Also,
gentleman.
he's looking forward to giving our blessing for $6 billion for the IMF to give to Egypt.
Hey, not bad. Why not?
What a deal.
Hey,
Why
Mike.
not, you know?
Mike, throw up Egypt. Let's take a little look at Egypt right now. See what's going on. Audio problems.
But I guess...
Somebody's texting me and saying
You know?
audio problems. Need a little more information.
Lower the master. I'm getting the audio fine. Here, check it on there.
Okay, are we good in there, Ken? Somebody's saying there's audio problems. Whoever is texting me, tell me what that means, and then we will find it. Like you can't hear me, it's too low, or it's too high. What kind of audio problems are we talking about? I hear myself well. That's usually a indicator. But yeah, and throw up Tahrir Square. We're going to show you. We're bringing you live from Tahrir Square, which is Times Square in New York. It's akin to that, except it's in wild and wacky Egypt, where the Muslims are having a fun day today. Let's go to Egypt Daily and let's see if it's playing. Anything? Veranda. What is her name?
Oh, it's
waiting for a clip to be
Valanda. Yeah.
Okay. All right, take a look at Tahrir Square at 11:20 at night. It's 4:20 here in South Florida. You're looking live at a massive demonstration of the secular, liberal citizens of Egypt. These would be the 30, that's loud. These would be the 30-something-year-olds as they are protesting President Mohamed Morsai's dictatorial move the other day to be the supreme leader of Egypt, the pharaoh. Okay, you can take that off, Mike. We're gonna actually do a segment on that between 5 and 6. We're going to talk about Morsai and his interesting move. And President Obama is MIA on his buddy Mohammed. He's not saying too much.
Which is surprising because, for somebody who likes to appoint czars and Caesars, you would think that he would be pretty cozy with a pharaoh.
You would think that for sure.
He just doesn't want anyone to know, like, oh no, dude, don't call me now.
No, not at all. So anyway, we are here, TrentoVision.tv. My name is Tom Trento. TV is the simulcast video side of our media extravaganza. You can watch this. You can watch it live, 3 to 6 every day, or you can watch it archived. Go to TrentoVision.tv and play part 1, part 2, part 3. Part 1 is 3 o'clock, part 2, 4 o'clock, part 3, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
You can do
Can
that.
we take a quick question from Valanda
Sure.
before we head over to the Hamas videos?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Valanda, how are you today?
Hi, CJ. How you doing?
Good, good.
Listen, what I wanted to ask Tom was who do you think of? I remember him saying something about Andrew McCarthy and his believing that the offense that was perpetrated in Benghazi is impeachable.
Right.
My concern is, do the Republicans have any chance right now of being able to prove that this thing is impeachable? And from what I can see of the general public, they don't seem to be very interested in this. This is, I've listened to, the Steve Kane show, listened to some of the liberals there, and what I'm hearing from them is, this is just an unfortunate accident. Barack Obama had no dealings with this. He didn't, he couldn't have stopped this if he wanted to. I'm hearing a lot of excuses out there for him, the affirmative action president, and I'm not hearing what I think Andrew McCarthy is hearing, or what others, have been saying about Benghazi. As a matter of fact, I don't see any leaders on the horizon who is capable of not playing to the public the way Barack is. And that's my concern. Does the Republicans have any game? Do they have any strategy that you guys might have heard of or know of that they could possibly use to sort of win this thing? I just don't see it happening.
Right now, I don't see it happening either. I don't see a whole lot of leadership and will on the Republican side for taking care of national security or domestic security. If you look at what's going on right now with these ridiculous budget talks and the Republicans caving and saying, yeah, we're going to go for another $1 trillion tax hike, even though we just promised you that we're not going to do it. Well, we just don't see any way around it. I don't see it right now. I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility. Yeah. I think it takes a lot of groundwork to put this together, but I think it has to be explored.
Yeah, I agree. I just want one quick question, and I'll get off. Susan Rice, I've heard about the reservations that McCain and I guess Lieberman and those are having with regards to her. Realistically, they can't stop her nomination, can they? Because I don't see that they have the numbers in the Senate to do it.
Can they do that? Yeah, I think so.
Well, the only way, this is Tom, hi. The path to possible impeachment of the president will be through a select Senate committee If
Right.
that can be pulled off, senators on both sides of the aisle coming together to do
Well, no, that's House.
no, I'm talking about the Benghazi. I'm on Benghazi.
Yeah, but the Benghazi impeachment would take place in the House, and then it would go to the Senate.
Yeah, but the path to start that, the path is the necessity of a select Senate committee that is set up with senators on both sides to do an investigation of 5 agencies. From the White House, the administration, the CIA, the Department of Defense, the Department of State, and a couple of other agencies. So that will take a year to do all, if they can get this committee, and they're getting a little pushback on it, that'll take a year.
That's my concern. I was wondering about that.
At the end of that, a report will be done, and the report will, and I'm going to read what Andy McCarthy says.
Okay.
He said, what happened and he wrote this on the 5th of November, what happened in Benghazi, the lead-up, the catastrophe of September 11th, and the ongoing cover-up is no longer just a debacle. It is an impeachable offense, putting Americans in peril and grossly failing to take action to protect Americans under siege. In fact, under siege by an enemy with whom we were and are at war is the most shocking form of dereliction of duty.
Yeah.
Serially lying to the American people about the cause of the attack, in fact, covering up the fact that it was a coordinated terrorist attack in order to conceal the fact that the administration had been warned about the possibility, and wages of a coordinated terrorist attack is an inexcusable betrayal of the president's oath of office. Benghazi makes Watergate and the Lewinsky scandal look like child's play. Obama has shunned, this is Andy McCarthy speaking, the highest responsibilities of his office, which are the security of Americans from hostile foreign threats, and honestly, in dealing with the citizens he serves, he should be removed.
Yeah.
And he says the voters can do it tomorrow, but it cannot be done fast enough, and it didn't happen
And
tomorrow.
I said it in September. I said this was an impeachable.
Well,
I said it was a high crime, not a misdemeanor,
Right, you
what
did.
they did.
Now here's what happens: if this select committee can come together and do the investigation, then they're going to have a document upon which the House can now move to impeach. The Senate has to confirm, which it would not. We'd be back in a Bill Clinton kind of situation. But
I just think it's reversed. I think it starts in the House and then goes to
no. The Senate is right now is working on McCain and Graham are trying and they're trying to get a Senate Select Committee of oversight.
Of investigation, but
Yes.
I think an actual impeachment proceeding would be started
but-
in the House.
Yes, but it has to be based upon the report. So the report will
see.
be by the Senate committee. They'll now have a document that an impeachment proceeding can take place on. And then the House is the only entity that can impeach. But the Senate has to confirm the impeachment.
Right.
And they won't
do
because
it.
they have the votes.
Yeah.
Now, on the other deal,
On Susan Rice.
the votes are not there in the Senate to stop her, but the House can filibuster and throw and derail the whole process. So that's possible, and so it's going to be very interesting to see what occurs in the days ahead. But the bottom.
So you say there's a possibility her nomination won't make it out of committee in the Senate?
No.
It would make.
No, but the House has a role in this where they can filibuster the proceedings long enough to kill the timetable on her. So it's
But then he can do a recess appointment.
yeah. Well, I don't know if he can recess Secretary of State. I don't know about that. But if there's a way around it, he'll find it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. But you know what? After today, I'm not a big fan, and you're not a big fan, are you, of McCain?
Oh.
No. We're not big fans of McQueen.
No, absolutely not.
In fact, one of our guests who will be on Thursday, Guido Valente, he wrote today, he wrote an interesting article. He goes, why can't John McCain just go away? Maybe if we promise to build him a statue and promise for 100 years that no pigeons will land on it, maybe they'll go away then. And then he adds, And maybe if we promise for 200 years no pigeons will land on it, he can take Lindsey Graham with him, right?
Yeah.
Well, these guys both have been complicit in the erroneous effort to remove Muammar Gaddafi from Libya, which unleashed a genie bottle of demonic jihadis, which we're seeing just the surface, and now they want to go into Syria and do something similar. These guys are living in a make-believe world where they think you can take a jihadi who is committed to killing Jews and Christians and establishing Islam and win his heart or his mind. Can't be done. They have to be killed, these people.
These guys, and we're talking about John McCain here, backed the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt
They
against
absolutely
our
did.
ally Hosni Mubarak. And then when it started to blow up, then they turn around and say, oh, you know what? You're getting it wrong.
Yep,
This
and-
isn't what we intended.
So he is driving.
Forget it. You can't have it both ways.
McCain is driving many of my Team B2 members crazy because one day he's totally on the side of the Muslim Brotherhood. Then he does stuff like he did today, where he called Susan Rice on the carpet and said, she's got a problem. And he did the right thing today. So, who knows what's going
Yeah,
on.
but you know what? She had a whole bunch of problems before she was confirmed to
Well,
be...
like what? Like what?
Before she was confirmed to be the UN ambassador in the first place, if you go back 4 years, and he came out of the meetings with her after reading her writings and her whole body of work and everything she had done for the last 20 years and said, oh, I think that's okay. We'll send her to the UN to represent the United States. So,
Increase volume a bit on camera till break. Increase volume a bit on camera till the
No,
break.
I know. He keeps telling me that. I told him.
I'll go see Greg.
Everybody's a director.
Thank you, Yolanda. Thanks for the good question
Thank
today.
you.
Appreciate it.
Tomorrow, this is Tom Trento, TrentoVision.tv, 32 minutes past the hour. And if you're on the East Coast, the hour is
4:30.
4. The hour is 4, so 33
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah.
past the hour. If you're in where you used to live, in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles? I'd just be waking up. So 1:30. So 1:30 then?
1:33. 1:33 in Los Angeles.
And
but,
the weather is...
Yeah, the weather is. It's
Okay,
gonna be-
this is something that doesn't happen very often.
Wow.
It is 75 degrees inside the studio.
Oh, man.
And it is 75 degrees in beautiful
Oh, a
downtown
double whammy. Let's give a
Boca
hand to a
Raton.
double whammy. There's a glass of wine out of that somehow, some way. But traffic was a traffic report.
One car.
One car going down Dixie Highway. Okay, all right.
What
so
the heck is going on? I thought
Quiet
the
day.
economy was booming. Where
Quiet day.
are all these people?
What is it, Tuesday?
They're
It's
not out working.
It's a
How come?
quiet day.
Yeah.
But we are here, and we are bringing you 3 hours of media joy. We tickle your brain and your funny bone a little bit. But we are President Obama's worst nightmare in many respects because we know very clearly what is going on, and the sad part of all of this is a lot of people don't care anymore. That's the problem.
No, they don't.
Mitt Romney, not too far from here, had that infamous meeting where he said 47% of America is not going to vote for him because they want things and he's not going to give them things.
Right.
And that's what happened. 47%.
Well, actually, it turned out to be more, but...
Like 53%.
Yeah.
So, Mitt, you were off by 5 points, Mitt.
Yeah.
There's 53% of people want things.
Yeah.
And then he defended that by saying, well, we're hard-working Americans. That's baloney.
Yeah.
I mean, people, when they want to take from the public treasury, and they learn how to do that by voting their people that will give them that in, go read any history book. That's the decline of that particular entity.
Well, because that
Whatever
can
it may
only
be.
sustain itself for so long.
Yeah, when somebody's got to produce and somebody's got to take.
Exactly.
When the takers outnumber the producers, do you think the producers are going to work harder and go?
No. What happens?
going on here?
No, what happens is that's when you have to expand your empire and you have to go start invading your neighbors
Yes.
and stealing their stuff
Yeah.
to give back to your own population, which you would think an anti-colonialist president would be opposed to. but apparently
No, apparently not. So, in any event, we are here. We deal with all things Obama, in particular national security issues, both domestically and non-domestically outside our borders. And one of them we need to bring to you right now. If you can put video number 1 up. We found something we think is fascinating. And we're going to give you stuff that's on the ground stuff, but we're also going to bring to you the 30,000-foot view of particular issues so that you can understand them. So you can understand the big picture, and then you see why people make decisions on the ground the way they do. Why is Israel so adamant at defending and ultimately destroying the Hamas? Why can't Israel just get along with their neighbors? What's the problem with those Jews, those pesky Jews? Come on. Well, after 8 days of a sustained air attack and a potential ground invasion, and that would have been a messy deal, the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, going in. They were well prepared to do it. They know how to do that sort of fighting. A lot of people would have been killed, a lot of bad people, a lot of innocent people. I don't know about this innocence too much, though. Such a thing as collective guilt when you vote a party in and you support the party simply because you don't carry a weapon doesn't make you a non-guilty partner. If indeed you offer to provide your home as a launching pad for a weapon, you know, not being forced to, but saying, and there's many Palestinians that want weapons in their home because they want to participate in the jihad against Israel, which ensures them immediate access to heaven if indeed they do get killed. How innocent is that person?
And they want their children to be educated the same way. So starting from the time that they're 2 years old and able to listen and speak, this is how the children of these societies are educated as well. And if you're doing that to your children, then you are complicit whether you have guns in your house or not.
And analogously, for our viewers and listeners, a good way of looking at this is you move into a new house. You and your family, your wife and your 2.2 kids and your dog and you know, all that stuff. You move into your new house in a nice suburban area, and you're on, you know, the moving van comes, you're unloading your truck, and your neighbor's there, and he's looking at you, and you say hello, and he says, "Death to you!" And you go, "Excuse me?" He goes, "I want you to die!" You go, "Excuse me?" "No, we hate you already. We want you to die." And your neighbor has all of his kids come out, and they all look at you and go, "Die, die, die!" And you go, "Honey, what's going on here, honey?" And your wife goes, "I don't know, dear. Who's this?" And you go, "Our neighbors want us dead, and they're teaching their kids to kill us." And you go, and you know, if you move into a house like that, what would you think?
I wouldn't move into a house like that.
Well, the Palestinians will say, "Well, that's what happens when you moved into our house. You know, that was our territory. We owned it. You took it over, and that's a nonsensical
Except they
argument."
never did own it.
Yeah, that's a nonsensical.
Yeah.
That's an argument of convenience. It's ours from this point. Well, why do you stop at that point? If you want to pick, if you don't want to pick a legal movement by the United Nations and the world community to reestablish Israel as the homeland for the Jewish people. If you don't want to pick that starting point, you want to pick another one. Why is it your starting point, and why not the starting point of history, where God gave the land to Israel? I mean, why not, you know what? That doesn't fit your timeline or your viewpoint.
No.
So you lose two ways. You lose on the historical argument, you Muslims who think the land of Israel and Jerusalem is yours.
Yeah.
You lose on the historical argument, and you lose on the legal argument of the world community. So that's the way it is.
Of course, the fact that it was there for a couple of thousand years before there was such a thing as your supposed religion to begin with, that's
Yes.
an inconvenient fact.
Your religion was a
besides
little
the
late.
point.
Your religion was a little late.
A little late getting there.
Yeah.
We were already quite evolved
All right, so
before
now,
you showed up.
now back to my analogy where you're moving truck, moving in, and the kids and the family and everybody's yelling at you, and they hate you and all of that. You go, "Honey, you know, let's try to be nice to them," and you go there and they start throwing rocks at you, and you're put in a position where you have to defend yourself. This is exactly what's going on between the Gaza Strip and the land of Israel. Well, the sad part is the parents in the next-door neighbor house are teaching their kids to hate the neighbor and to kill the neighbor. And take a look at this one video we're going to show you in a minute. Here's what happened. After 8 days of a protracted air campaign, which devastated much of Hamas's military capability, their command and control, their intelligence capability, and whenever something like this happens of this magnitude, is a group of people who are on the border of knowing what side to be on, and they look at the overwhelming firepower of Israel, and they go, I'm going with Israel. And because when you become a spy, you don't become a spy overnight. You don't get recruited like, I meet you and, okay, you're a spy.
I know, you've been working on me for years. It hasn't happened yet.
It takes time. So many Palestinians are being worked on for a year or so, and this thing was the dividing point in history where they said, okay, we're with you now. So now Israel has a whole new group of spies, if you will, in the Gaza Strip that are providing real-time intelligence right now, saying who's rebuilding, who the leaders are, taking pictures, sending them back. They're getting paid for it, obviously, and they got to move their money around to, be careful. But at least there's a hope with Israel, and they can be pulled out anytime they want to. That's part of the deal there. So
A lot of them get outed and killed by their neighbors, though.
well, yeah, that's the danger of being a spy. But you no longer believe in the team you were on. You go with the other team. That has happened all over Palestine. But
There is no such thing as Palestine, and I really don't even
all
want to
over
hear you
Gaza,
say
all over
it.
Gaza, all over Gaza. What happened was very interesting. Immediately when the ceasefire occurred, all the Gazans, all the Palestinians within Gaza started declaring victory because they weren't decimated, they weren't all killed. But during the campaign, the Hamas put out these promotional videos. Now they're in Arabic, and we'll tell you what they say, but we just want you to get a feel for the melodic tone of these and what they are. They are short videos that were put out on Palestinian TV, Gaza TV, and they were to recruit more fighters and to keep them in the fight. And Mike, just play one for about a minute or so, and then we'll
Do you have a preference which one goes up first?
the first one.
Yeah,
there.
the first one looks...
Killing Jews is worship that draws us close to Allah. How about that one?
Yeah.
Got it.
That's Tahrir Square, isn't it?
Still have the audio open on it.
That was Tahrir Square. Still
Okay,
partying
here we
like
go.
crazy in Tahrir Square. Good? All right, why don't you stop the audio? Let's do this. Stop the audio. What we're going to do is start it over, replay it, and I'm going to read the captions. Now, for those of you listening, you just heard a kind of an upbeat, motivational music video, and you can kind of dance to that. I mean, if you can dance, you don't have to be a star to dance to that. This was done by Palestinian Media Watch, an organization that tapes everything coming out of the Gaza Strip. and they're just a phenomenal organization.
Yeah.
Hang on, Mike, not yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the copy, and then
Yeah, but
CJ.
even before you get to that, one
back a
recurring
little bit.
message called for the killing of Jews, which Hamas defined as a religious Islamic act in worship of Allah.
Please,
And then- yeah.
restate that.
Yeah. One recurring message called for the killing of Jews, which Hamas defined as a religious Islamic act in worship of Allah. It's really important for people to understand and to remember that the one thing that unites all of these jihadis, all of these Muslims all over the world is it's not about Sharia compliance, although that's a big part of it, because whether they are Sharia compliant or not, the one thing they absolutely positively all have in common is an unending stratospheric hatred of Jews wherever they are, in Israel, in America, anywhere they are in the world. They feel it is their duty to kill them wherever they see them, and they support anybody who wants to do that. Period. I don't care if you're a woman and you wear a burqa or you don't. I don't care if you're a man and you drink alcohol or you don't. Whatever else you're doing to profess your faith, what you have in common with everybody else just like you is you hate Jews. And anybody who doesn't get that is never, ever, ever going to be able to defend himself, his country, his people, the state of Israel, or anybody else. Period.
Well,
That's all I have to say.
it's CJ on a rant there
Yeah,
on Trento
just a
Vision.
little rant.
TrentoVision.tv or WNN 1470 at 47 minutes past the hour. Tom Trento with CJ and Mike, and we are discussing the Hamas and whether or not Israel can make peace with their neighbor. And as those of you who follow the show, who listen or watch, some of my work in the area of the Sharia, finding the jurisprudential, theocratic, legal, comprehensive, supremacist system of Islam derived from several authoritative texts to a codified book. The best one right now is called The Reliance of the Traveler. It is the law of Islam, Sharia, which means the path to the waterway, the path. We talk a lot about Sharia as the unifying factor for violent Islam, for political Islam, for militant Islam. But CJ just interjected, and that's a very academic analysis. We've looked at the texts, we've looked at the material, we've looked at the teaching, we've looked at the history, and we've concluded that the threat to America is this thing called the Sharia. And the Sharia is in opposition to Western civilization. The Sharia legal system is in opposition to Western civilization, to the United States Constitution, to every state constitution, to everything, the USA. That's why we fight against Sharia Islam. But CJ just interjected a fascinating theory. I don't know if it's a fact. We can explore it. But you're saying there's 1.3 billion Muslims, and our unifying factor of the Sharia, as those Muslims that are not compatible with Western civilization,
Right.
if they adhere to that, they are incompatible with the West.
Correct.
And if we had a little meter and we put it under their mouth like a thermometer and
Right.
it hit the Sharia,
Uh-huh.
nope, you're incompatible with the West, we would know.
Right.
But you're saying there's a unifying factor of
Yeah.
Jew hatred
Yeah.
for Muslims.
Yeah.
Is it all 1.3 billion?
Probably pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Now this would bypass any knowledge of the Sharia. It bypasses. It's visceral. It's emotional. It goes through their brain somehow. It's
This
educational.
is the one thing that they all know and understand from the time that they are able to drink milk and eat baby food. Okay? This is the one thing that they carry with them wherever they go.
Now what I
That they
saw.
learn everywhere they go.
And what I saw on this video, and I want you to play it now, Mike. Don't play the audio. I'm going to read it. But before you do, hang on. What I saw was the killing of Jews. Now, many religions historically, and I'm speaking as a theologian, have said that when our religion is fighting the bad guy, we're fighting in the name of God, and we want to prevail. That God is with us. Mm-hmm. That's every religion sort of does that.
Right.
I don't know if I heard a religion say killing that person is an act of worship to our God. In any Christian war I'm familiar with, the Crusades or any of this stuff, I don't know if the killing of the enemy was an actual way of worshiping God. It's usually the worst of all possible cases. You have to kill by default. You don't want to do it by design.
Actually, you get forgiven for it before you go into battle, and you get forgiven for it after. Gee, sorry you have to go through this, and sorry you had to go through this, but God forgives you for what you had to do. You did the right thing. That's completely different.
That's very different than killing the enemy as an act of alms, an act of worship before God. This turns the concept of God and at least from a Western point of view, completely upside down. But I'll read the copy on this music video. Okay, I played that without any audio. And now this video came out during the last 8 days, a series of them, and I'll read the words, and the pictures are jihadi Palestinian warriors running around, shooting missiles, firing at Jews, all of that stuff. And listen to the copy that is being sung on the music video. I'll read it. I hear a little hum, Mike.
No, it's playing. You were singing.
The killing the occupiers is worship to Allah. Blessed men of Palestine, guardians of Palestine, and they're shooting off rockets right now. O pride of Salah, Shahida, O wisdom. These are different Hamas leaders. They're honoring the leaders. The explosives of a particular bomb maker. He's in paradise. Killing the occupiers is worship. Honor the trigger. Killing the occupiers is worship. These are the words of this music video being played to rally the Palestinian fighters against Israel. It's all put in a theological context. Mm-hmm. Killing Jews is worship that draws us close to Allah. Killing Jews, that's the Arabic text in this music video. Killing Jews is worship that draws us. How the hell are you going to make peace with these people? Now they're shooting missiles off. Arise, O determined, call out in Zion's face, and then it ends.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think that's what they live for. I think you can't make peace with them. I've never been able to understand why anybody in Israel ever even tries to make the pretense of saying that this is something that we can make peace with. You don't make peace with something like this. You shut it up, you shut it down, you do whatever you have to go about your own daily life, but you don't ever turn to these types of people and say, yeah, I think we can sit across from each other at a negotiating table and work out some legal settlement that is fair and equitable to all of us, and then we're going to live together in peace and harmony. That is absolute nonsense. That's cow chips. That's nonsense.
And this is why it's important to the listener and viewer. The unrest in the Middle East, the unrest in Gaza, in Israel, has become a rallying point for the expansion of the jihad into America. The jihadis view America as suppressing their effort to destroy Israel. If America stepped out of the way, then the jihadis can destroy Israel. Because America is in the way, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Because America is in the way, I'll tell you what's going to happen after our break. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen in the United States of America, because the jihadis cannot destroy Israel, and it ain't pretty. but we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision. With that,